Welcome to PAO Fans International. You're joined by Nick and Panatha Fan. Welcome, boys.
Evening,
Hello,
boys.
hello.
How are we?
Good. We've seen a lot of each other the past few days, haven't we?
Yeah. We've had the Euro 4 function. We saw Karagunits again today. So, yeah, good times, good times.
I can't believe, just quickly, if Greek football and Panathinaikos royalty asked you how we played and how we scored.
Yeah, and I'm happy to discuss as well. Panatha Fan, welcome. It's been a little while since you've joined. Welcome back.
No, it's good to be back, boys. Thanks for having me back. It's been busy on a personal front, but I'm rubbing shoulders here with Royalty Online, connecting with the Greece 2014, but of course, Royalty. You're getting asked about how we played, and now that's a privilege. So look forward to hearing more about it.
Not only that, he was playing with my son today as well at our friend's shop where Karagunis and Karistas were at. Karagunis mainly was playing with my son because I had him decked out in Panathinaikos top, so it was good. It was good. I think he's more the royalty there. But let's get things started. We started off with the Europa Conference League. So we played TNS, where we defeated them 2-0, courtesy of a Filip Jurisic goal in the 15th minute that came about with it was a good team goal. It was a 1-2 between Tete and Vainidis. Vainidis whipped it in. Jurisic got the shot. The first shot was initially saved, went back in his path, and he buried it. Then Ioannidis got off the mark in the Europa Conference League group stage. His first goal since August 22nd, where he scored from the penalty. That was after Jurisic was tackled illegally in the box, and that was in the 61st minute. Boys, how did we find that game?
Over to you, Nick.
Oh, look, first and foremost, happy with the result. Probably the same old story, I guess. The finishing the chances because once again we created a bucket load of chances. We just couldn't finish. Our quality showed in this game, though. The New Saints are they're the weakest side we faced all season, whether it be domestically or on the European front. That really told. There was a moment in the second half where they tried to break through, and our centre backs must have been Ingerson just completely bullied one of their players off the ball. They just yeah, for large spells they couldn't get a sniff. Vayanidis really impressed me in this game. Deserved man of the match. Of course, he was involved in the lead up to our first goal, and of course, it was nicely put away by that man again, Zurisic, who's probably been our player of the season so far. He also had a good game, I think, in this one. And then as soon as we got the first goal, it was pretty straightforward from there, and just good to see Footy get off the mark at long last, albeit from the penalty spot. But that hopefully gets his confidence going. And other than that, not much else. I mean, it pretty much went as expected. Like I picked the exact score. For me, what I loved the most about this game wasn't even on the pitch. It was off it. It was the atmosphere our fans created. Literally from start to finish, that's all you could hear. And one of our own guys, a guy we know very well, Josh, being there and his story encapsulates, being a Panathinaikos fan abroad. And, he shared his story on Twitter and it absolutely exploded. And that perfectly encapsulated it. And he wasn't alone. There were lots of fans that were seeing us play live for the first time in the flesh.
Think, Nick, I love what you said, and it's not often we start off talking about a match review off the field, but Josh's story and example, and he wasn't the only one, but the fact that he's one
There
of
was a
our
few.
own, has not seen, but I think I could play all his life in terms of live, that is. And you had the experience, you shared it online, got a great reception online, and they're great stories. And that for me is really what we sort of love as international fans of Panathinaikos. where we sort of make the extra effort to go see him when we get the rare chance to do so. And the fact that he did it and was so proud of it, it was heartwarming. I loved it. Um, on the pitch front, I think Sturge, you mentioned before that this was. Sorry, Nick, I think you mentioned it was one of the easiest games in terms of season to date, and I wholeheartedly agree. Um, I would say that if I'm being a bit fussy here or a bit greedy when I say that we should have probably done better with the result. I mean,
Of
I
course.
am being greedy when I say that, but the reality is it looked like we were playing like a training match for a good part of the game. We were cruising, we were knocking the ball around, didn't look like we were under any real pressure. I could sort of understand where we weren't trying hard to go for the jugular. At the same time, though, it would have been good to get 3 or 4 goals so we can actually improve that goal difference, which could be quite critical when it comes to match day 6, which is the last group stage game. But considering where we were a few months ago, I'll take it. I'm not going to complain. First away win in how many years? Number
15.
of years? 15 years?
2009, but that's a stat only for the group stage, like league phase.
Correct.
What about our
Yeah.
win over Roma? Our win over who did we beat away last season? Marseille. No, we lost. There was someone we knocked off in qualifying, or Ajax this
It'd be
Oh,
season.
Ajax this
Yeah.
season. Yeah.
But yeah, that wasn't in an actual group stage like league phase.
No, no, but still worthy of celebrating and noting. And thankfully now that's a few wins in a row for Rui Victoria. And hopefully it's starting to take a little bit of pressure off the team in terms of their performances. So onwards and upwards, I say. I'll take it. I'm relatively pleased. Always want that little bit more, but beggars can't be choosers at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, it was some good win, comfortable win. Especially at 1-0, we started playing comfortable, and you're right, Panatha Fan. At 1-0, we just started playing comfortable. We weren't really going for the kill. We, we really weren't threatened. Every time they made like a semi break, our defense just handled them with ease. Um, but the result is all that matters. The 2-0 win. It could have been much more. We did miss chances, but you got to create the chances, and that's important that we're still creating. The end product will eventuate at some point. We're seeing a lot of chances created with every game, but it's just the scoreline isn't what we'd hoped for. These kind of games could have easily gone 3-4-0, but you take the win, especially an important win that we needed to get closer to securing the next round. That hoodoo, that whole 15 year without a away group win, that would be forced down the players' mouth just through the media, just through socials, things like that. So I found it a really good display, performance wise. Um, Jurisic continuing his hot scoring form. I think that there was a little bit. How are you going? A bit of miscuing in his passes, his dribbling. Just yeah, I just don't know what's wrong with him in the last few weeks. We've seen a regressed version of him. But Vayanidis had a field day. They just had no answers to his overlap. His runs were just devastating that team. So it was good to see him just completely torch them. And he did finally put pen to paper as well. Um, and that was a good thing. And that was an important win for the FC team because it puts us now, I believe, in 18th spot, the top 24 progress, and it's a real opportunity to get anywhere in that 14th, minimum 14th with a next home win. So um, very good. I was very impressed. Yeah, like I said, by Vayanidis. Um, you know, Bart and Ingerson had it fairly easy, and it was good to see 40 really getting on that score sheet. We broke that 15-year hoodoo. Do we break, next? And it's a bit premature with this conversation, but do we break the 15-year hoodoo with the title? So, 40 getting his first goal since August 22nd. Only good things can come from here onwards.
I think so. I think so. Yeah, it still feels like we're in second or third gear.
Yeah, yeah.
But still, sorry, go ahead,
Yeah, I was gonna
Serge.
say, yeah, the performance did feel like it was second, maybe increase it to third towards that last 20 minutes, 30 minutes where we actually applied pressure. It looked like we tried going for goals, but just nothing was happening.
And as you were saying before, the whole importance, the significance of this win, the aim is, of course, to get into the 9th to 16th to be seeded when the playoff draw comes around. We've also improved our European ranking. I don't know if you guys came across this. We've improved our European ranking by like over 100 spots already with these few wins. Imagine if we just go on, just make it to the last 16 or quarterfinals from here.
Yeah. Yeah, this whole European run is important. I think there's a lot, there's some weak teams in here, but we've also got some pretty strong teams, and we've got to understand that success isn't going to come straight away. Wins against a lot of the teams isn't going to come straight away. I think we need to take a step back and just re-establish the DNA. Last year's Europa League was started with hope and then just was absolute shit show, and that's putting it nicely. Finished last, we didn't even make the Conference League. This year, we're finding our feet again, and I think that's what's the positive thing. It's just learning to play, it's learning to win, and getting those guys a bit of European experience, and just getting understanding what kind of players we need to go to the next level. Because I think for a while we've brought in solid Greek league players, but not players that are going to compete at a European level. Just that little bit of a step up that's required to just challenge most teams, whether it be your mid-tier teams, things like that. Like your Rens, as example from last year, they weren't anything quality, but if we had that little bit extra quality, we would have matched them. So, it's about rediscovering that DNA.
I think though this season on paper, the side's no doubt it's better than last season.
Yeah,
But Tetepe, Listri, Unai, those three alone improve us drastically on their day.
yeah, but the whole team needs to deliver. Like,
Oh, of course, of course.
for me, our
But
starting is Mladenovic.
that's what I'm saying. We haven't fully clicked yet, and we're in a good position in the league and a decent position in Europe. If it does click, there is hope for the second half of the season on both fronts.
I still think we're not near clicking, in my view. We certainly improved a lot under Rui Vitoria. So certainly for me, I applaud what he's done so far. And I was going to talk about more with the league game, but it seems like that certain positions on the field, I don't think we are perfectly set. And the strange part, and this is what I struggle with my own opinion in terms of Jurisic on the left, he's been our best contributor to date in terms of the season. But that left side for me, I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't suit the style that Vittorio wants. And I feel like that Jurisic is a great talent and he's scoring goals more than anyone else at the moment. But do we need a Jurisic type player on the left, or do we need a player that's going to hug the byline and be able to cross and create more opportunities for your strikers, such as Footy? Because at the moment, it seems like Jurisic is more cutting in and scoring goals himself as opposed to being a creator. And
Well,
I don't know if that's the right
I
thing
think
for the club.
yeah, we're looking. Well, the current winger structure that we've got is players that are cutting in. So Tete is obviously aggressive, loves to cut in. Palestrina is similar. Jurisic
He
definitely.
does too. Yeah.
And it looks like from all accounts that Jurisic is on his way to sign a contract extension as well. But what I do notice about Jurisic and Tete is they get pretty selfish as well. A lot of the chances do fall their way, and they do half the time or most of the time take that selfish option themselves. you don't see Forty, Jeremejev to an extent, Sporter when he did play, get those kind of chances. They get one, two, maybe one big chance, a couple of half chances, but the chances predominantly fall to our wingers when you see the games.
Yep. And then if you look at last season, certainly in the second half of the season, Bernard was in form and creating. He had the vision, the ability to create chances for his fellow players. I don't think he was as selfish as Juricic was. And again, Juricic is contributing, but I think that Forti benefited from him and maybe even to an extent Palacios as opposed to Tete and Juricic. And I think that's the part where I'm not quite sure what's better for our team at the moment.
Yeah, you're right in that, because I think Juricic only does have that single assist to his name, while Bernard had over 10 assists for the season last season. So Palacios was about seven odd, I believe. He was around that figure. But yeah, you're right. A lot of the goals Porty was scoring was because of a lot of unselfish play um from Bernard. Even Bakasetas chipping in when he came was very impactful with his assists as well, especially towards Forty. That triangle that him, so Baka, Bernard, and Forty formed was pretty strong.
So I haven't checked the stats, but did they only did get that goal, the first goal against the New Saints as an assist,
I need to.
considering it
It was,
was
it
a
was
save
played.
and then a rebound.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think he'll get credited for that assist then, because of those semantics. But yeah, if you watch the games, just
yeah.
I will tell you that was all. It was a good build up by Vainidis and Tete. It was one of the minor bright areas that Tete had, just putting that through ball, that nice little through ball for Vainidis who crossed it in, because Vainidis prior to that had crossed in a dangerous ball to Forte as well, who just couldn't time his header as well. It was just like moments earlier.
Then in going back to them to that left side though, you got Mladenovic, who's what our leading assist
Yeah, I believe he's on like
stat,
4 assists, I believe, thereof.
Plays every game.
but he's creating more goals than what Juricic is. So Juricic is scoring him, Mladenovic is creating him, and that's where again that left winger, if you want to call it that, or left side attacking midfield striker, whichever way you want to refer to it. Yeah, that's the part where I sense that Victoria has a totally different view of how that role is played versus Diego Alonso. I don't think Diego Alonso knew what he wanted, to be fair, but and then on the flip side, Tete's regression seems to have started from the moment Victoria became coach. And I don't think that's a criticism of Victoria. I think it's more the style of play and the more team slow build up approach maybe not doesn't suit him as much.
He's missed sitters. He missed like those two sitters of Panatha Levedaikos where he hit one straight to keep a rebound, and then he just went for like a soft touch when that rebound shot came to him should have been buried. So he's had his fair chances as well. He's just, I think,
Mm, sure.
not
That's why, yeah,
the
that
net.
he's still getting the chances though. That's why I just think it's a coincidence. Like last year, Zudisic went through a form slump as well. It's the nature of the position, and they'll come in and out of form. But Pelistri had a slower start than Tete. Now Pelistri picked up more recently, and Tete's dropped off.
No, we've seen, them to sort of switch forms where Pelistri
Yeah,
has
yeah.
been up while Tete has been on the down. But Belisha did get injured, and we'll bring it to that. The next game, which was the Levedaikos game, which was earlier today. We defeated Levedaikos 1-0, courtesy of a 40 header in the 60th minute. I'm, I'll just be really frank. It was pretty poor defending from the corner. It was a corner. Um, Pretty much they left 40 on his own on the 6 yard box where he just headed it down at the keeper and it went in. And that gave us the win, the 1-0. But let's discuss how we saw that match.
You go, Nick.
I don't know if Sturge, if you've already, because I know you like this stuff. I was gobsmacked. Not, firstly, with the 40 goal, how they gave he because off a corner, off a set piece, he's our most dangerous. He's our go-to guy that we're going to look to for a corner. And I had to watch it back a couple of times. I paused it and I counted 11 Levedaikos players in the box. Yet all 11 players left our biggest weapon unmarked. Eramutspe was the one that was meant to pick him up, and he didn't. And he won't get an easier goal than that, 40. And now it's now two goals in 2 games, both from yes penalty and corner. So the next thing, hopefully, is now to get him going from open play. But we did say that one goal's going to get him going, and we'll prove right now because it's 2-2. And this followed a similar pattern to the New Saints game where heavily rotation, which is a good thing, which I think we have to talk about because our December is chaotic, especially compared to the rest of the teams. So Victoria gets full marks for the way he's rotated. But again, lots of chances created and just didn't get out of second gear, really. And this time, though, Levaviakos posed more of a threat than, say, Atromitos did a few weeks back, even though they stole a draw. And also the New Saints, that forget his name, Osbold, whatever his name is, in the first half. There was Yanyotas in the second half, although he was offside. Not another chance from memory as well. I think it was the second half. It was right before Footy scored. The game was decided basically right there. They don't score off their corner. We go down and score off our corner. Mancini came under a lot of criticism in this game, rightfully so. A couple of moments in this one summed up his evening. In the 45th minute, he gets in a good position, and you don't blame him for taking the shot on, but it's completely off target. Then in the second half, he had another one that he completely just mishit as well, and wasn't his day. Other than that, Bakasetas deserved man of the match. Off the top of my head, he was not only the assist, he created 3 big chances himself. That's now 8 in 10 for Victoria. We haven't had a true test yet because those 8 in 10 or these 10 games, we get to have a derby or a big European tie. But so far, he's not an Alonso, like a used car salesman. Whatever he's promised, he's delivered. More structure, more balanced. Yeah, mother, like there's a clear identity. I like it. Again, we've said it now for weeks upon end now. I like the way we play. We find spaces. There's always a spare man. Our ball movement, especially from the back, we don't cop the counters. We're less susceptible to those. We control the game a lot better. I don't know the stats, but possession is also on the eye. The eye test much more in our favour as well. Now it's just a matter, and it's not really his fault. We just got to finish off the chances, and we've said that before. That's it. Just finish off the chances, and I believe that we have more gears left in us to really give things a shake in the second half of the season.
I'd add to that and say that I think, and we all agree that Levedaikos is a much better outfit than the New Saints.
They're a serious team this season, eh?
And it was interesting that if I pick on Pelistri, who played on the right-hand side, who didn't set the world on fire, and if I'm not mistaken, Vico, who was, and maybe still is, a transfer target of ours, was playing on Pelistri's side. So hopefully that is a good reflection on him. But ultimately, though, I think everything Victoria does has got good sense of reason and purpose behind what he's doing. His substitutions make sense more often than not. His rotations make sense more often than not. Where we let ourselves down is just the output from those players who are given the opportunity in part of rotation that don't deliver. Mancini is the obvious one from the match today. But ultimately, though, as well, I think that it's been times where our fullbacks don't deliver and have been inconsistent. And I think Vaganini today wasn't anywhere near the stand he's set in the New Saints. And at the same time, also, Bakaseta was fantastic, as you mentioned, Nick, and I think he was routinely called MVP by many parts of the media. But then I look at, say, Aral, and
He was good.
yes, we kept the clean sheet, and yes, he is certainly our first choice number six. But is he an all-round player to help create? I think he tries at times, but sometimes he's not quite anywhere near the standard we'd want. Not like a Ruben Perez, who was, I think, is another level in that regard.
He
So
had more deep line playmaker ability. But
yeah,
that's the whole thing, Dora, with Victoria. How much, not much is going to get done in January in terms of squad overhaul. It's a notoriously tricky time to do that and inflated fees and whatever. And Victoria strikes me as the type of coach that is going to work with what he's got. And we've already seen that, to be fair. And the strikers going to get done. I know we're going to talk about that. But other than that, I'm not expecting too much else. I know you spoke earlier as well about our left side. I think this is going to be it for the season.
and on the left side as well. Then we got the question about Maximovic. I mean, clearly
Yeah.
he's being used as more as a number eight as opposed to a number six under Diego Alonso, and I can see what role he's trying to play. Um, is he a box to box midfielder though? Not
No,
really.
no.
But
And I think
That's going to work in the
saying that,
derbies and the hard European games. In this one, yeah, I know what you're saying.
saying
yeah,
that against Atromitos, he was pushing up and he did get that goal. And towards the end against New Saints, he was pushing up slightly higher.
and I think he's shown more of his value. So I'm not criticising player at all. And again, and this is credit to Victoria. I think he's working out the strengths of him as a player. He's getting more out of than what Diego Alonso. But I think, and we've talked about this many a times on this podcast before, in terms of the squad composition and the makeup. I don't think that it's balanced. We've got holes, and yeah, again, we've mentioned it many a time. And I think Victoria needs a proper summer off season to really build the team the way it wants it.
That's when we're going to see big changes.
Yeah, if he's allowed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, spreadsheets don't interfere.
Well, yeah. Look, I think it was a bit of a weird game. We got the win 1-0. People were saying it was only one. Palito and Amiden. It was ugly. The Greek league has improved. The bottom teams, especially more the middle teams, are definitely stronger. I did a reflection from a couple of years ago where we just missed out on the title, where we were and where the other teams were. We're 9 points lower than we were, or
Yeah.
sorry, 10 points. And first place, who's Olympiacos, is currently nine with a game in hand. The bottom teams, the last team, second last team are about the same, while the middle teams are very compact on more points, while the top teams, it was first, second, are on less points than a couple of years ago. So that tells you that the teams are struggling right now because a lot of these middle teams are taking points from these top teams. We've seen Tripolis get results, Panatholikos get a result here and there. So you're talking about the strength of the Greek league, and Levedaikos has come a long way. They did get promoted. They're a team that bounces up and down. But this is a pretty solid Levedaikos team. We pretty much have made that left back official or almost officially ours, Vikos, and there's talks about their right back as well. Dregas, I believe his name is.
Tsapras.
Safra.
Yeah. So that name also seems to be like a signing. We had quite a few chances. Now, Mancini was a big culprit. You don't need to look too deep into socials to see the fans really cursing on him, not being appreciated. So he's going through a bit of a form slump. But we did okay. Nothing setting the world on fire. Did have a pretty good chance. I think he just tried dribbling off the shin and it just
Yeah.
much of that heavy touch. But overall, you can see. But what he does very well, Pelistri, is he presses high and he wins a lot of balls. He's very aggressive in the way he retrieves the ball back from where he's at. So, um, I do kind of like watching him play, but he did tweak that groin. He's going for test. he got up. He didn't need any assistance, carted off or anything. So it's probably like a 2 to 4 week injury. So we'll definitely see him after the winter break from there. But Osbolt just caused a little bit of trouble with his pace. I think he got past some bit of a miscommunication between Jedvaj and Dragowski as well, which gave him half a chance. Janotas, annoying as he is, especially against us, was a little bit of a threat here and there. But ultimately we got the goal, and when we got the goal, we had one or two semi-decent chances to get the goal, especially through Jurisic. Just
Jurisic.
yeah, couldn't just find that second goal. There was one I think he lobbed it over and it just went wide, and then there was another one which he shot
It was
cross.
a cross. Mancini should have got on the end of that, though.
He didn't attempt to dive, which mm, you know he probably could have lunged, put his body there to get there, but he didn't. Which was again a bit annoying because that was a chance there. But then Levedaikos really turned it on, especially that last 20 minutes. They really dominated the possession because possession at one stage was about 65-35, and it pretty much finished at 52-48 in our favor. But you can tell that swing there. Without getting close to goals, we allowed Levedaikos to really get the ball, really hold the ball. And when you're up 1-0, it's not really ideal that you give the opposition, let them hold the ball. Because if we held the ball, you know, we're passing around, we're keeping possession. The other team can't score if they don't have the ball. So it was just a little bit annoying. But with that, more importantly, we got the 3 points. We stay in fourth, 1 point behind Ike and Bulk and Olympiacos. But Olympiacos does have that game in hand away to Kallithea, who's currently sitting last. But Kallithea have obviously did they draw in the? I believe Kallithea may have drawn, or they gave Olympiacos a big fight in the yeah
Narrow, yeah, in the cup, you're saying.
no in the league fixture. I
Oh, in the
think
league, they Olympiacos won, but it was a very tight one. They drew against us, remember?
yep they drew against us 2-all, but yeah they did really give them a scare from memory. Um
Look, they have just sacked their coach as well, so maybe that will play a part.
yeah 2-1 2-1. They scored in the 77th minute. So they did, and they played in the cup as well recently. 1-0 and 1-1. So while Galithea's dead last, they're not really a pushover team. They've shown a lot of fight against Olympiacos. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Obviously, that result will happen after everyone listens to the pods. But it is definitely one to keep an eye on. Because also we do host them next week as well. Um, so yeah, but back to the Levedaikos game. Look, 3 points is 3 points. Give me 1-0 wins. I don't care how, but especially with how tight the Greek league is, how better these teams have become. Give me 3 points any day of the week. 1-0, just
100%.
we move on. That's
The only thing to that is it's an overall thing now. It's an ongoing issue where we've what 15 games in, 15 goals scored, and we saw with Atromitos where we couldn't capitalize on our chances created, and like totally against the run of play, they got one out of nowhere. That's all. But you are right. If we're gonna just keep winning and winning, and you guarantee that, I'll gladly take 1-0 wins.
exactly, exactly. So we just yeah, continue. We hold our position in terms of the ladder. We put pressure on our rivals by winning, and that's about it.
It's been a good December overall, a very good December.
I think
Rotation,
yeah,
the wins, results, points ticking on both fronts, on three fronts really, the cup as well, off to a winning start there. One last push is needed now.
Yeah, with Rui, we've seen quite a bit of that stability. He's implemented what he said to boss the game, which he has. Dominate possession, shown a bit of intent. The defense has completely tightened up, and we're creating a lot more chances as well. It's just the scoring's remaining the same, but we do have our final game against Dynamo Minsk in the group stage, if you want to call it group stage of the Conference League. Now, in more mixed, they're a bit of a tricky one. They hold that similar squad value compared to what we saw with Helsinki at about that 8.6 mark. They play a 4-3-3, but their season has just finished in Belarus, where I believe they finished first in Belarus, but the thing is, they're on I think 3 or 4 points as well in the Conference League, and they did get their first win against a team that's on 0 points, and they only got the win thanks to a red card Lane received. So once Lane were red carded, went down to 10, they pretty much capitulated there. So
And they're last. That not team from Northern Ireland is last, and that was Dynamo Minsk's first win in
yeah,
this. They're on 3 points,
correct.
and then they beat the team, yeah, dead last.
So,
So must win and hopefully some goals.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, 3 points is always going to be the most important thing. But if we can get a lot of the goals, I don't think to be honest, like I've had to look into their squad to see where the threats are, what could be the dangers. I'm just, again, lost for words who I think might be a threat. But there's maybe a midfielder called Pavel Sedko. He's more of a midfielder. Um, but I don't see a whole lot being too much of a threat. And the other one would be their left winger, Ivan Bakar. But if you look at the rest of the players, I don't see a whole lot of threats. Nothing that our team shouldn't handle, especially in Athens. We've got a home game. I think they need to come out and play for a win. A draw doesn't do them any wonders. They need to come out and play for a win to have any chance of getting that top 24 place. So I'm not too sure if we will see a completely defensive team come out because, like I said, they need a win. So it wouldn't make sense for them to try and defend and I don't know, maybe get one on the counter attack or something. They need to obviously come out and attack. And so do we. We need to continue our game where we just go out and attack.
That'll play into our hands if they come to attack. That's going to help us, I think. More space, and we need goals, as you said. We the more we win by, the more beneficial it's going to be to get us up the ladder.
Depends what motivates them though, because they're not going to make the knockout rounds, so they got nothing to play for other than pride. But you know, is pride going to be enough to motivate them to really push hard? It remains to be seen. And it's at the same time we've got a lot more to play for, so that works in our favour. One thing that I did notice in their recent results is they don't concede a lot of goals, and even in their European fixtures, and I haven't gone far right back to the start, but they seem to be quite miserable in terms of letting goals in. And I think Copenhagen beat them 2-1 at their ground, obviously. But Copenhagen's not a bad unit. So it's not like they gave them an absolute thrashing.
No, no, but I think in terms of the strength of the fixtures we have compared to Dinamo Minsk, I think your Chelsea also, for example, I think their hardest one was Copenhagen. So they did cop a hiding from Legia Warsaw, the Polish team, 4-0.
Right.
Yeah, they did cop a hiding, and they did lose to Helsinki 1-0 in Finland. So,
So they're on par with us.
oh,
No, we beat them.
We beat Helsinki 1-0.
No, I was thinking of Djurgården, so we lost that
Yeah.
to them away. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What are we
No,
thinking
I'm
for
being
this
tongue
one?
in cheek. They definitely, we got no reason not to win.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
I think we all agree on that, 100%.
And goals. Like, come on. Hopefully, like a 3-0 this time. Hopefully. What are we thinking for lineup in this one? Because there's going to be rotation. And what are we thinking for crowd? Because this is the last like league phase game where there's something riding on it. Was to an extent right before Christmas. We've had 3 away games in a row. Tough win in Tripoli that came in dramatic circumstances. A good European win, professional performance on the road, another professional performance on a pitch that wasn't the best in Levadia. So we haven't been at home for a while as well.
Yeah,
I think I would like to think we should get a strong crowd
More than
because,
Helsinki, hopefully. That
yeah,
one, yeah.
and I think the showing at Leve showed that if the fans are getting back behind the team again. And certainly, everyone seems to be very supportive of Victoria as a coach. Probably the one thing though that will influence is the weather, and you know, as we all know, the weather in Greece in the last
Been
week has been
pouring.
terrible.
Yeah. Well, but Felicity, as Sturge was alluding to before, he'll be out. So even if he's fit, you wouldn't risk him now for the run in before Christmas, getting ready for PAO, first game back in the new year. Other than that, maybe the
we're gonna
man
go
in
full
Sturgis
strength.
photo gets a game.
We're gonna go full strength. I can't see
You
him.
reckon?
We're going full strength. This is Rui.
Okay.
Yeah. It depends on Sharon. I think Sharon was injured or sick. He's still obviously recovering, but we'll go full strength. We'll probably see the same lineup as we did against the New Saints. So except for maybe Bart, because I think Bart is unknown as well. He's injured as well, but I expect us to go all out. Mladenovic, Ingerson, Jedvaj, um, the Vayanidis, probably see once again Aral and Maximovic, Baka, Tete, Jurisic. I can't see anything different, to be honest. We're going to go full strength. Anything different, to be honest. And I wanted to put in the Levedaikos game. I forgot to make this point. I felt Aral was man of the match. I know Bakasetas got
Hmm,
man of the match, but I felt Aral was man of the match. Thought he was superb.
he was
Um,
good.
yeah, but yeah, Dynamo Minsk. It's full strength. I don't think we want to embarrass ourselves on final match day. Rui Vitoria does does make a little bit of a rotation, but he doesn't heavily tinker rotation.
Not heavy, yeah. 3 max.
Yeah, he always goes as strong as he can, where appropriate as well.
So we're looking at Dragovski, Vayanidis, Ingerson, Jedvaj, Mladenovic. So I think this will be a game. This will be a good game for Max. That's what I was thinking. Arau in the six.
Oh,
So again, if Cheren's fit, get him in the 8.
I think
Bacaseta Sunai in the 10.
we're
One
gonna
of them.
Mladenovic only purely because of his assist threat.
Yeah. In the front line, if we're going to go full strength, it's going to be Tete, Pelistri, Tete, Jurisic, Ioannidis.
Yeah, I can see that. I can honestly see that kind of a lineup. Um, don't know who it will be between Maximovic, and Sharon. Obviously, Sharon's still not 100%, but I still think he'll go Maxi Aral and get them to just maintain that midfield and let Baka, Tete, Vayanidis, Jury do all the work, like attacking wise.
I think Sharon had a fever. It wasn't well, so
Yeah.
don't think it was injury. So one would think he should be right for this game. So it's a question of whether he prefers him or Maximovic. But I probably agree with you, Nick. I would having Max play instead of Mladenovic because he did come on
Just
against
freshen things
obviously
up. Yeah.
Livadia. Hmm.
I think only Max will come on if we hold the comfortable lead just to give Mladenovic a break. I just can't see Mladenovic being dropped at the moment. He does seem to favour him, and Mladenovic does have the assists to his name.
He's certainly his first choice. It's just more from a rotation point of view because the guy has not stopped playing.
Don't
Yeah.
stop. And we've got one more game after that before Christmas,
He's getting a few
which
more.
is also important.
And so is Limnios as well. If you've noticed, he's starting to get a few more minutes
Yeah,
as
good to see. Yes.
Yeah.
well. And sorry, and I forgot to mention with that Levedaikos game, it was important to note that Katris, one of our players, played the full 90 minutes and he played pretty solid. Without anything special, he played pretty solid as well. So good to see one of our boys getting a full run. Hopefully he's there to impress Rui as well. It's remain to see if that happens. But yeah, Dynamo Minsk, everything points this should be a comfortable win. Every time I say that, it ends up 1-0. On paper, everything says 3-4-0. Realistically, everything points towards that. Whether we can find those goals is a question to be remain. And and before the Greek season wraps up for the Christmas break, we do host Kallithea. Bit of a revenge grudge match. They did put two on us, and we pretty much drew it as Zordi. I- they outplayed us that game. They created so many chances under that Alonso ball style. Um, so that will be an interesting game. We'll see how they go, especially against Olympiacos. They do host Olympiacos. They're playing Monday night Greece time, so they have a 6 day turnaround, not that traditional 7, 8 day turnaround. So, be interesting how they pull up any injuries, suspensions there as well. Um, yeah, they haven't. I don't think they've gotten a win yet in the season, but they've gotten a fair few.
Lots of draws.
Yeah, so they proved they can pick up points, but just not winning. And one of those draws did come at our expense.
That was the game when Alonso Ball was fully exposed. They had like 26, 27 shots, remember?
Yeah, Valbuena just
And
like
they scored late, and we scored even later, as you said, Metozori, to sneak in a point.
Should have lost that game.
yeah,
They had a 1-on-1 in the end as well. If I'm not mistaken, they missed, which would have finished us on.
yeah, that was a really poor game. So hopefully the boys redeem themselves and just smack them essentially. And with the winter break coming up, who of you boys give me your top two players that have performed and your top two that have been quite disappointing? Let's go, Nick.
Top two and
Yeah,
most disappointing.
yeah, let's go top two.
Top two will definitely, well, we touched on him already. Jurisic has to be number one. Two, still got to, because you got to look at the season as a whole, not just the recent rough patch he's had. That there's still got to be in the top three somewhere. Then you're probably looking at someone like Arau or Dragovski for third. Three that can do better. Where do you start? Because you include someone like a big part player like Sport Art in this, we're probably never going to see him again.
Yeah,
The Max Mladenovic situation, that's got to be so Max to become a regular and just get more minutes to lighten the load on Mladenovic will be a good start. Then we're seeing more from Belisidi, so I can't sort of knock him there. Other than that, Schenkerveld, when he gets more of a run, Ingerson, the defense has improved. There's still, I wouldn't say it's 100% there, but we're seeing improvements.
Panatha Fan.
I want to go a little bit different just to make it more interesting. Um, yeah, I have their number one in terms of positive contribution, only because his goals are the reason why we're still in Europe. And his goals early on in the season in the Greek league are what's kept us ticking points over. Yeah, he's dropped off lately, but think on a contribution basis, he has to be number one. And I think the obvious one is Jurisic as well. But I'd add as a number three, Bayanidi, who has been fantastic in games. And that's with all the rubbish around his contract. I mean, dropped, it's a family size and up at Dimitriel. So with all that going on, he still managed to pull some great games. So he gets a special mention for me.
That's well. There was remember that. Don't forget, he missed about was it 3-4 weeks roughly
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
That comes into it.
Yep. And yet he still comes back and he hasn't missed a game. Plays great games. Then on the most disappointing side, I think the obvious ones you've mentioned, Nick. So I'm not going to repeat them. Let me add a couple for consideration. I think Ingerson has not lived up to the promise I
Yeah,
expected from him.
yeah,
I, I think our whole back line has been shaky, and
yeah.
I thought Ingerson was going to be an absolute rock for us, and he just hasn't won me over. So that's disappointment number one. And I'd say Pelistri as well, only because of the price tag. And I feel sorry for the kid because I think he hasn't had a good run and he's been played on the left, on the right, sub here and there. So no disrespect to him, but he hasn't contributed as much as what he should have until now as well. Um, and third choice is going to surprise you boys is Euromayev because
Yeah,
last year
that's a good
the
call.
goal to minute ratio man I was singing his praises and you guys probably had enough of me mentioning him. This year it's the opposite. He's had plenty of chances, he's failed to put away. As a goal poacher that he is, the fact that he can't put these chances away, very, very disappointing.
Yeah, that's a good call. Him probably more than Sport Art because he's got more of a future probably than Sport Art at the club. So for
Or he's
sure,
had more minutes. He's had more
more minutes.
minutes. And
Maybe
he's
yeah, the status one was more fresh in the memory. They're the winner there for me.
yep.
That's all.
So Sturge, can I hear your thoughts?
I'm gonna go a bit different. I've actually dropped that there just because of the last few weeks. I thought that doesn't make my top three.
Really? Not even third?
No,
So
Jurisic,
I'd have him second or third. I'd have him second.
Jurisic number one.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the way he's shown his character to come back, score quite a few goals, vital goals, everything. Um, he was obviously on the outer with the fans. That he's really showed a lot of good character, scoring. Still a bit selfish, but he's scoring. And that's the important part. Number two, Vayanidis. Vayanidis has improved. He's shown um, a lot of good characters, or just to bounce back from the contract drama, the Alonso Papadimitriou spat, where he was caught in the middle of that because of the contracts stuff. Whether he's going to sign for Botafogo, just all those rumors about his contract situation. His crossing has improved the last couple of years. We may have touched on about his crossing, his delivery. He knew how to attack, he knew how to get into positions, but that end product to get the ball in the box, he's shown now he can be a threat like that, similar to like what we used to see with Seydaritis making those runs, Zorm being that threat from that right back position. And number three is someone similar to Vayanidis who has shown character, was unhappy, was probably used incorrectly, is Bakasetas. I think he's been phenomenal as well. Got the assist today, but it's just his ability to create the chances. Is a threat as well with his outside the box, everything like that. You give him half a space, he'll take the shot. He got the free kick against the win. I can't remember the home win, the free kick that he scored a few weeks ago. So I think he's been really impressive, and ever since Alonso's gone, he's been much happier. You can see it in his body language. Everything has been positive. I think Alonso was using him incorrectly, was making him a scapegoat. He just didn't look happy with his football. All of a sudden, he is happy with his football, and he's reaping the results, and so are we. And you can see it on the sideline, everything. Just his joy in playing. He's contributing as well, which is good. Disappointments, number one, Mancini. Definitely for me, Mancini has been the biggest disappointment. I think when we saw that Braga game last year, we thought we've got an absolute stud playing, that we've got, but he just couldn't break into the team. We couldn't understand why. Obviously Bernard was there, Palacios, but we knew Mancini like had pace, everything like that. We thought, he's just quality. I think that's all he's just got. Pace. He was highly disappointing today, against the Levedaikos outfit, where just low IQ, low execution. He just couldn't deliver. Disappointment number two, and I do agree with Panatha Fan, Jeremejeff. His output in scoring is poor. Um, he had, prior to his goal against, was it the goal that he scored on the last weekend? Prior to that, he had 0 goals in the same amount of minutes that he had last season, where he had 8. He's had the opportunities, he's had the chances, but he's been poor. Even prior to that goal that he scored last week, it was Panatha. Even to that, he had the chance and he tried to use the outside of his right foot to dink it over the keeper. That was the complete wrong shot. He should have used his left foot there. Um, and he missed pretty much a sure goal. Well, he did score moments later to make amends. He's had big opportunities where he's just, I think, been trying to be a little bit too cute, little doink over the keeper, little dinks over the keeper, and it's just hasn't worked out. Number three is someone that you both didn't mention. To be honest, I'm finding him a bit of a disappointment because we know he should be offering more quality. He's played in the big league. He's still relatively young. He had a big World Cup, I think, and he hasn't shown a whole lot. I'm gonna say Unahi for me has been,
Really?
yeah, yeah. He's been. I don't think
Okay.
he's up to what we expected in terms of assists, anything like the way he's playing, what he offers. I think Sharon has been a much better ball player for us than him, um, and the balance that he brings to the team compared to Unahi. I think Sharon's ahead of him in that 8 role as a ballpark player compared to Unai. Unai's come in as a 10.
As a
Um,
10, that's what I was going to say.
yeah, but he did nothing as the 10 when he played as a 10 under Alonso, and it's really hard to perform under Alonso with the way he structured the team. Um, I didn't think he was that great, but um, I feel Unai, the price tag that he's currently on, even though we've got him on loan, uh, he should be miles ahead of every player in our team. He's what, rated about that 10, 11 million mark?
11 and a half or
Yeah.
something.
Is,
Yeah, look,
is he playing
that's
like an $11 million player?
no, no. If that's the fee that we need to pay to make him permanent, no, I wouldn't pay it. I just think there's been three more disappointing guys than him. And again, it depends on how, like, so I said sport art, but he's not. Barely even a bit part player. He's barely got a future at the club.
But he hasn't had the minutes to,
Yeah.
be disappointing. We've seen players that have had minutes, but they haven't been, for me, as impactful. That's what I'm trying to look at. I'm looking at players that are in, what impact that they're bringing, while they're playing. Sporter's not playing, so we know he's a disappointment. But we're seeing guys that are playing, but they're not really showing much. For me, Unahi's not really showing me he's an $11 million player.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't shown that. No,
No, I would
I
agree.
think
So, yep.
he's had one really good game off the top of my head and one okay game. The rest, yeah.
Yeah,
I think he did suffer under Diego Alonso as well. Like I said, I think struggle with Alonso. I think he's probably in the same boat. But yeah, you're right. He hasn't made an impact, and he's nowhere near that price tag based on his form.
Yeah, in the Greek Super League, 11 appearances, 0 goals, 0 assists. In the Conference League, 5 appearances, 0 goals, 0 assists. He did score in the cup.
That was his best performance, that cup game.
Yeah,
Yeah, was it?
but the output there, Maximovic, who isn't as attack oriented, has equal goals. And we're not expecting really an attacking sort of presence from Maximovic, and pretty much he's got equal goals. And he's
Yep.
probably,
Funny though, how we Panatha and myself had someone like Ingerson there.
I
And
think,
the defense, if you look at the stats, 9 goals conceded in 15 with a lot of clean sheets isn't bad, but there are nervy moments here and there. We're not 100% defensively.
I think a lot of the nervy moments did come a lot under the Alonso
Yeah,
style. I think I think there was a lot of gaps in that midfield, in that right back, where they were just indecisive, where there was no set structure. With Rui coming in, we've seen teams have less chances at our goals. So, yeah, I think there's been less pressure on the defense. I think there was a lot more pressure and a lot more happening with the defense where they were just exposed and a little bit more prone to errors. But for me, yeah, Ingerson hasn't been what I'd hope, and I definitely agree with Panatha Fan, but um, he hasn't been too bad, especially as of late. I think he's been pretty good. I think he's showing a little bit more of a threat now, especially in the box. We know in his bulk days he was scoring a fair few goals from the corner, set pieces. Uh, we know he can be a threat there as well. He's got on the end of a couple of headers. He did contribute to the goal against Helsinki, the own goal, where
Yep.
took the touch, took the shot into the path of Jeremejeff, but the defender put it in. Um, yeah, I can understand the Ingerson, but I don't think he's, for me, warranted more the top three spot.
Based on expectations, it's a disappointment. Based on output, no, he's not at the bottom three, 100%. And if we're going to call out Spora, and he hasn't really made a contribution on the field, it's a good opportunity for me to mention our mate Palmer Brown.
Well, Spora,
Boy,
he was
where
in the
is he?
squad. He was in the squad the other day.
he was on the
For
ex
Levedaikos.
and he was the only natural centre back. And so I'm a bit surprised he got dropped. There was, one, I don't even know how accurate it was, that he might be up for a bit of a swap deal. I'd say we throw in money in a swap deal for that Bernardeschi, former Italian winger at Toronto. There was suggestions about that. Not too
I
sure.
saw that.
I'm not too sure on the likelihood of that. We
Do
don't,
you really think it's going to happen?
because Bernardeschi's a right midfielder, and I don't think
Exactly.
we need another right winger. Um,
Exactly.
No.
so I'm not really buying into a whole lot of rumors at the moment. We are heading into the winter transfer period, so there's obviously going to be silly season. We're going to hear a lot of rumors regarding who we're going to play, who we're going to sign, and a lot of it is even by our own fans making all these suggestions on who we need, etc., etc. I can't even digest or think about what we need because people talking about striker. Yeah, maybe a striker, possibly a defender. A lot of people saying a left winger, but we've got Jurisic, we've got Limnios, we've got Pelestri that can play there. Um, Tete hasn't really been tested too much on that left, so I can't really say on that. But um, Yeah, we're going to head into that silly season where we're going to be linked with quite a few players. A lot of people are just going to write garbage. There's going to be clickbait articles as well. So we'll try and steer away from gossip or anything like that.
Speaking of, and something I think that's a bit more concrete, it's been doing the rounds for a while now, but it was in the mainstream news. Bentancur, Panathinaikos striker, that was also doing the rounds with Benedeschi.
Yeah, but there was
I can't see it happening personally, but it's been doing the rounds.
no because what the apparently the thought process is, if you're going to bring a player of like that quality, you might as well bring Koulouris because he won't
You
count
agree?
on it will be a Greek player.
And
And
he's younger.
yeah, so I probably would agree with that as well, that statement, and I'd rather go for Koulouris. Well, Bentancur has been having a fantastic season. I don't think that's the solution. But that also for me means Sporter's gone. We didn't even see him on the bench, extend the bench, anything like that. For me, it appears his days are numbered. There was talks that Jeremy Jeff was the one going to be sold, likely to make way, but everything for me is pointing towards Sporter exit from the club this window.
I think the rumor was Yeremayev was actually the one himself who wanted more opportunity elsewhere.
Yeah, there was rumors that he was going to go to Slovan Bratislava, but um, I don't think he is the one that's gonna go. For me, Panathinaikos wouldn't let go of Jeremy Jeff, who they've kept on the bench and sometimes is starting ahead of Sporto, who's not even making the bench. So yeah, for me, I don't see Jeremy Jeff leaving.
If Spora leaves, then 100% keep him till the end of the season at least. You don't want to be signing two
Yeah.
strikers in the winter period.
Yeah, correct. All right, and let's talk about now the basket. Now, the basket, we've been on a bit of a slump lately, and especially in the EuroLeague. The EuroLeague, again, another disappointing result. Anadolu FS put 90 on us, 90 plus. So that's like the fifth or sixth consecutive game that we've conceded 90 points, to our 67. Didn't come Yeah, I'll be honest, didn't really watch the game, but just reading the reports, everything, what DPG put up on his Insta story with the picture of a green bus
Mm.
instead, instead of the players traveling by plane. Bit of a threat, essentially. Um, we've just seen that the team is simply not performing. The team with lofty expectations is just not performing. Um, they did bounce back with routine win in the Greek league against Lavrio by
Oh, oh,
17. You know, the Greek league is really a two-horse race between Panathinaikos and Olympiacos, and what matters is the end, the final, essentially. But the EuroLeague just hasn't been kind to us at the moment. We do have Milano Wednesday morning our time, so Tuesday night in Greece, followed by another home game a couple of days later against Baskonia. Those are two must-win games if we want to salvage our season. I think we're currently sitting about that eighth spot at the
no,
moment.
10th.
Oh, 10th.
We're 10th. We dropped out of the top, the top six.
Yeah. So yeah, we're currently sitting on 10th. Milano's on 6th, but they've been up.
Still tight though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. The pretty much two in separates second from 10th. So a win against Milano and Baskonia will put us back, say, about that sixth mark, depending on other results. But um, yeah, Kendrick Nunn didn't play that game. That was due to the suspension, and the EuroLeague Mafia themselves denied any appeal, and they put the same referees in that pretty much caused his suspension. So it's been a bit of a partial situation there, and it was leaked on socials that the NBA is looking to have Panathinaikos, Fenerbahce, and Real Madrid involved in some capacity. That came shortly after. So while Panathinaikos um, came out and refuted those rumors, there is obviously fire there. There is definitely smoke there because we saw comments made in the past by Ataman about the NBA regarding the state of EuroLeague, how politicized it is, corrupt it is, and that speculation came out, especially after that none decision. So um, it's obviously something to keep eyes on in the future, next few months, see any developments with what the NBA does in or what they're planning to do, especially around those three teams. Those three teams did get named. So it was Panathinaikos, Fenerbahce, and Real Madrid.
How good would it be to see Panathinaikos beating the New York Knicks by 25 points?
Look, look, it's very possible that Panathinaikos does that, and that's just with four players on the court. But um,
But it's not often though where we're enjoying talking about the football more than the basketball in recent
That's what I
times.
was going to say. What a
and
role reversal.
did you
It
say
is, isn't it?
podcast or two podcasts ago where
You and I said it when we were last on a fortnight ago. But now I feel Sturge, it's gone to the next level.
it's like, can't we have what? Why can't it be always nice for both sports? It's either one or the other. It was pretty much the basketball that was making us and the fans happy, but now somehow the soccer's made a comeback. It's the accidental hero essentially that
Yep.
that has made us believe. I know fans will say we're only winning 1-0, winning ugly. I don't care about that stuff. Wins are wins for me. Give me 3 points. Give me 1-0 wins
Oh,
over.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there's more unity, togetherness between like the players, the club, and the fan base now. You saw after the game in Tripoli, Vittoria in the rain, instructing the players to go to the fans, and the fans can sense it. The ones that go to games, like what a turnout in Levadia as well. They had to open up an extra theatre for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The puzzling thing though about the basketball is that we had all the right ingredients going into the season. We topped it up with a few great players on paper, and yet yeah, it's certainly not even close to what this team can produce. And Ataman, as a coach, he's proved himself time and again. So it's a head scratcher.
Wasn't he was trialing new defensive structures?
Yeah. Alki and Adonis say it best. I think
Not that, yeah, well, especially me.
regard defense, but it's hasn't been working well. I think Chetty Osman has been quite disappointment, especially with the money he's on as well. Uh, it's
The
just
other thing, though, and again, I'm not a full basketball person, but when you're the defending champions, the other teams are going to lift to face you.
Yeah, you're a
That
scalp.
that comes into it as well, with along with Ataman's tinkering.
yeah, yeah. I think we strengthened in all areas. Like we brought in Lonzo Brown, we brought in Chetty Osman, and you're at seven, both NBA experience, and it hasn't translated.
And it's not like we had last year. We had more injuries too.
Yeah, but our run began in January,
True.
so after
From memory, there was more of a buzz this time last year, more of a like we can do something sort of thing where we're seeing something. We're seeing positives. Maybe it was because of the first year and there was this look us the more fancy new faces there as well.
Yeah, I think that we were starved of success for so long.
Yeah,
Any sort of build up, whereas now, reigning champions.
expectations. Yeah,
Yeah,
but look, it is still tight. So this is a double game week. We win both of those, and we're back probably up to fifth, sixth again.
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. That's why these two important games. It's not negotiable. They've got to win. We're good enough to beat both teams, especially.
Who's the second? The second opponent? Oh,
And then now in Europa Conference League, just put up a picture of us saying for consecutive wins for Panathinaikos with the hand clap emoji.
they're milking the fan base.
Yeah. Well, we seem to be quite popular with them, so
We're one of the biggest teams there.
That's true.
Other than Chelsea, the elephant in the room, and Fiorentina, then the real Betis, are they really bigger than us? They got a bigger squad value than us, but are they a bigger, more historical club than us?
they're,
No.
they're more flat
Copenhagen.
mid-table in Spain
Yeah.
as well, so they're
Yeah.
not that impressive.
L- Legia Warsaw do have a big following.
Legia, yes, they're a big club.
But outside of that, no, I'm just trying to think who else there is. But yeah, we're certainly one of the bigger ones. We've got an active fan base online as well. UEFA knows who to please. Well, in terms of social media, that is. On the pitch with the referees, it's another discussion.
It got to the stage, I think it was in our group, Dino mentioned it, and I fully agreed with him. The referee we had in Europe, it's gotten to the stage where the officiating so bad, where you now praise a referee for just doing the bare minimum, for doing his job.
You know
And I
what?
thought the referee against the New Saints actually
Brilliant.
was reasonable.
That's the
Yeah,
one. That's the one I'm referring to.
Category
yeah,
B referee. I had concerns when they announced Category B referees. I think it was from Finland as well. But I
Yeah.
thought it was a job well done. Even this morning, I think it was one of the better officiatings that we've had in the Greek league as well. Um, so yeah, a bit of contrast where we've been pretty disappointed with some of the officiating lately, but it's, it's refreshing to have actually good referees that apply the law and just not turn a blind eye or anything. But yeah, apart from that, fellas, anything you want to raise before we wrap it up?
I look forward to a 3-0 win
Yeah.
against Dynamo Minsk.
Yeah, this will be our last pod for the year as well. The
Oh, yeah.
pending our American counterparts do it next week. It will be, yeah, most likely the last pod from the Australians for the year. So, do follow our socials. There'll probably be some articles, videos that we put out on socials. So, do keep a check on that. Make sure you follow us on any of the social media platforms, whether it's X/Twitter, Facebook, Insta, even TikTok. Adoni does great job on those, or even follow our blogs as well. They're a bit more rare, but um, especially over the break, we'll probably do a couple there. Panatha Fan, Nick, pleasure.
Thank you.